Hello and welcome to the UK Geocaching Podcast tutorial video. This may or may not turn into a regular series of videos. What we're going to talk about today is downloading geocaches onto a Garmin Nuvi device. If you haven't already got it, go and get GSAK or Geocaching Swiss Army Knife now, and then come back to this video. If you're already experienced or you have GSAK already installed, then we are good to start. So assuming that you've got a Garmin Nuvi device, mine is a Nuvi 350, I think it's about 5 years old. What we need to do is we need to download a couple of bits of software. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Google and we are going to download the POI Loader. From the link, click. I know it says United States up here and it also says that I'm logged in where it says your account. If you aren't logged in or you haven't registered on the site, you do need to do that to be able to download the software. Once you've got to this point, there is a link here that says POI Loader. We're not too worried about what it actually does at the moment because all that's handled from within GSAK. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to download the POI Loader for Windows. Obviously because GSAK is Windows based, there's no point in us downloading the Mac version. So click the download button. And then there you have the download button, and it's 12.84 meg, so make sure you've got a reasonable internet connection for it. I'm not going to click it because I've already got it downloaded, so we can leave that where it is for the moment and we'll just minimize Chrome. Let's go and find... no, stop that. You can now see me recording this video. Let's get rid of that altogether. Thank you, and we need to go and find the POI Loader. So I can see it here, it's downloaded, it's installed. You don't actually need to do anything with this. As long as you can see this screen, you can just hit the cancel button because all of the settings are going to be handled by the GSAK macro that we're going to go and download now. To do that, we're going to switch back to Chrome, and we are going to Google search for a particular file name, and this name of this file is nuvi_gpx_ by_ct. Obviously the capitalization doesn't matter, it can all be in lowercase. You can ignore this because this is the link that you want right here. If it says gsak.net and it says nuvi_gpx by ct, click on it because that's the file that we want. Once that loads, you can see that we've got some basic information on how the script is going to work, a few changes, other changes, and some notes. And what we actually need to do is we need to go right to the very last post on this thread to find the latest version of the macro. And if we scroll down, all the way down, there you go, you can see it's all in date order. So that was November the 12th. 4 days later, Redroo updated it to November the 16th. And then November the 25th. So he is actually working on this quite regularly, and I have found that it's working really, really well. What we want is this file just here, Garmin nuvi_gpx by ct.gsk, and if we click that, away it goes and downloads here. Ignore the fact that it's got a 3 on it, that's because I've downloaded it a few times already. Yours will just say something like by ct.gsk. One of the other things I've done is I've associated .gsk files with Geocaching Swiss Army Knife, so that what I can do is I can just click it, GSAK comes up and it asks me to whether I want to install, run, or open in the macro editor. Now I have no idea how the macros work, so I'm not going to try and edit it. All I want to be able to do is use it, so I'm going to install the macro and go. And there we go, we can see it's highlighted now and it's in place. We don't want to run it just yet because, as you can see, there's no caches in here for it to run against. So I'm just going to exit that. Now I've got a new database set up, I've got no locations active, I haven't got a saved filter, so that's all fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the geocaching.com access and download Pocket Queries. This will eventually bring up a list of the Pocket Queries that are available to me, so there you go. This one is Dorset Drive-By, is the one I'm interested in at the moment, and you can see it was run on the 24th of November at 1:05 in the afternoon. That's their time. It was about 11 o'clock at night that I was playing with it. So I'm just going to tick that there and I'm going to hit OK in a second. We don't need to worry about any of this lot. Just hit OK. It will go away and it will go and fetch them 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100%. So that's it downloaded. GSAK will now process it. This takes a few seconds longer, and while it's doing that I must just mention that the macro that we downloaded requires that we have at least GSAK 8.3.1.10. I did an update to this because it came up with an error message when I first tried to run this macro that said I wasn't running late enough, and it did give me the option to go to the GSAK website and download the latest version from the website and install that. After that it worked a treat. So we've got this summary of the load up. The waypoints that loaded was 1,000. New waypoints added was 1,000. Additional child waypoints added is 422. Now that obviously is because it's a brand new database in here. If I just click on that, you can see I've got a number of different databases set up. I've already got one for the Dorset drive-by, but for the purposes of this show off we're going to go with the new. So we're going to leave it there. And now it is simply a case of going back into macro up here, run and manage, and you can see it's already highlighted there. Now there are a couple of settings that we need to change before it actually runs completely, but we need to hit this run button now so that it comes up with, any moment now, there we go, Nuvi GPX exporter for Garmin POI Loader. You can see there's a number of options that you can use in here as well. Select the appropriate database. Now up here, I keep trying to point at the screen, up here the database says new, so we want that database because that's the one we've just loaded. The POI icon is Geocache Waymark Benchmark. That's absolutely fine. You need to select your Garmin model in here, and as you can see there's quite a list of them, and I do believe that if your SatNav isn't listed, get onto the GSAK website, have a chat with Redroo via the support thread, and he will add it and update it for you. So these lot I haven't played with at all down here. We're just going to go down the left hand side first and then we'll go up to the right. Normal export with cache types, that's absolutely fine. If you use filters in GSAK, what you can do is you can set it there. So I've got all my filters that are there, and if we click the little down arrow on it here, you can see, there you go, that's all the ones that I've got set up. Now that 4GPS was an old one when I was using my little yellow Peril. That only had space for 500 caches. So we're going to leave that unticked because I don't need it. Include user notes, you can. If you keep notes on the cache page, you can pull those in as well. You can ask it to display the hints either at the first, before the logs, or no hints. I'm a bit lazy like that, and I like to have them at the very end, and I'm really lazy and I like it decoded. What's the point in having paperless if you don't cheat? You can also display logs, and you can say where you want them displayed. Normally I've got that as no display. I don't know why that was set to after description, so we'll have that set to no display, and the max logs to export I've set to 0 as well. If we now come up to the right hand side, there's different alert types that you can set depending on what you want it to do. So you can have a tour guide for a radius, so within say 528 feet of your current location, if one comes into that proximity it'll go ping. Tour guide with no sound, that will just put it up onto the top of the screen in a little red box on mine without a ping sound. The proximity on route, I don't know exactly what that does. I'm assuming that if you're navigating to somewhere and it's somewhere on your route, it will pick it up. Or you can have no alerts, or you can have a custom option which I haven't needed to play with. The alert distance, you can set it in either feet or meters. I've got it set to feet at the moment. That's 528 feet or 0.1 of a mile. And I've got the alert volume set to loud. I haven't bothered playing with any of these settings down this right hand side at all. The only things that we really need to do is go into the general options, and there's two bits that we need to set here. Everything that you see in here was already set when I put the macro in. The only things that I have changed previously are this output path, and I've told it to go and put it in r:/POI folder, and you can find that and put it wherever you want to just by selecting a drive on your machine. Go into the POI folder and OK. If that folder doesn't exist and you want it, just tell it to create it. Just right click. No, it's not going to let me do it. OK, so you'd create that separately. It also needs to know select the POI Loader file. So if you've just installed the POI Loader, it will be somewhere like this in Program Files, Garmin, POI Loader. Now I did see on the support thread that it suggested putting the POI Loader, when you install it, into c:/Garmin. I didn't read that while I was playing with it, and I haven't had a problem with this so far. So I've just left it where it is. This is another one that I haven't played with at all. So I'm just going to hit the save and return button. And when it returns, there it is. The two buttons that we're interested in now are build the GPX files and then run the POI Loader. So I want to first off build the GPX file, and what that will do is it will take all of the information. As you can see, you've got multis and traditionals. So it's doing the multi tour guide at the moment, then it's doing earth caches, traditionals. There you go, the traditional tour guide, 927 points. That's running a little bit slower than it was. I wonder what I've done there. And it will go through and it will create all of those files, and when that's done in a moment, let's open this up. This is just Windows Explorer. Navigate to my hard drive. It's only another drive on my local machine, it's not a network folder anywhere. So there we go, that's that done, and that should have returned. Good. So what we can do now is we can go into the POI folder and into new, and there we go. Earth caches, letterboxes, multi-caches, mysteries, traditionals, and virtuals. I don't know what transparent caches are, I've never seen one. From there, it's quite happy. If you're quite happy, run the POI Loader and see what happens. Now you can see this message that I've got up here at the moment. It says checking connection, and every 5 seconds it's checking to see if my Garmin GPSR has been found. It's not going to find it at the moment because it's not connected to my device. But what would happen is if it was connected, this Garmin screen here would just disappear, and up in the macro status it was said running POI Loader, and it would just sit and run POI Loader. For the moment I'm just going to exit that, obviously, because I can't do anything else with it because I haven't got my Garmin attached. Once it's finished, you'll come back to this screen. Then you can disconnect your Garmin from the computer, disconnect the USB cable, and however you would normally look at your custom points of interest to be able to navigate to them, you should be able to get in there and do that. And if I can find a method of taking a video to show how I can do that suitably, I will do that for you. I hope that's been of some use. If it hasn't, please let me know. If you've got any more questions, again, let me know. And do feel free, if there's anything else you want me to cover on this type of video, again, leave a comment, send us an email. Thanks for watching, take care, bye bye.